There's a viral video going on right now of a wife recording her husband sleeping in the car in his own driveway.
This man is sitting in this car. Why are you sleeping in the car?
Because I can't rest in there.
They decided that they were going to discuss my video with my relationship.
She posted this video and it went absolutely dumb, stupid viral. When you step back and take a look at this whole situation, there's something deeper here that I do want to talk to my Christian married folk out here. And this isn't just about marriage. It's not just about communication. It's also about privacy and how much we want to allow people to, come into our particular marriages and our relationships via social media versus going to God first. So let's talk about this. But before we get into it, please do me a quick favor by hitting that like button. Subscribe if you enjoy more faith-based content, and please share this with your family and friends so that we can be a blessing to each other. Let's get into it.
And worried. And this man is sitting in this car. Really? 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 Seriously? Seriously? Why are you sleeping in the car?
Oh,
Why are you sleeping in the car?
I need some rest.
So why wouldn't you come inside?
Because I can't rest in there.
Wow.
Is your life that terrible that you need to be in the car? Is your life like that difficult? Why don't you come inside? For an hour you've been out here? You've been out here for an hour?
It looks like it. I just need to rest.
Do you want me to bring you something?
Peace and quiet.
Come inside, baby.
No.
Come on.
No. Just close the door, please. Just close the door.
Well, I'm going to come and sit next to you.
No.
Oh, no. Oh.
Did you just lock the door? Open the door. Open the door.
Lord have mercy. Wow. Now, y'all saw this whole clip. Y'all saw the interaction. You heard what he says. He's like, listen, she said, come inside and rest in there. And he said, nah, I'd rather be out here. She's like, why? Because I can't rest in there. That is heavy. That's heavy. Now, I felt that as a man, right? As a man, he chose the car over his own house. That's not normal, but it's not like it's unheard of as well, too. I mean, it's not comfortable and it's really not ideal. I think that was a last resort. Now, I don't know their situation, amen, but that means something inside that house doesn't feel peaceful to him. Now, trust me, as Christian men, and let me know in the comment section down below, we want a house of peace. Now, I do want to be fair. Some people do need their space. They need a moment to decompress. I do it too. Sometimes I sit in my garage talking on the phone with somebody. I'm just chilling because I know I can have a conversation with my homies or my boys in the car before I come inside. And I know my son or, my wife is going to want my attention. So sometimes that's just, after work or after a workout, I just do that to clear my mind. You know what I'm saying? So I might be in there for another 15, 20, 30 minutes. That happens. I'm just finishing up the conversation. So something like this, it happens. But this didn't just feel like a quick reset. You know what I'm saying? This looked like someone trying to escape. And that's where things become very concerning, especially from a marriage perspective, because it's supposed to be a place of peace, not a place that you run away from. Listen, I enjoy coming home. Okay. My house is a place of peace. Okay. Now, the Bible actually tells us about this. If we go to Proverbs chapter 21, and I want to read verse 9, and it says, better to live on the corner of a roof than to share a house with a nagging wife.
Boy, ain't no way, boy. Boy, ain't no way, boy. Boy, ain't no way, boy.
That is some strong language right there. But the principle isn't about blaming one person, okay? Please get that out your mind. It's about this. Constant conflict is going to destroy peace. And when that peace is gone out of your house, people start looking for an escape. And that's what that man did. Sometimes that escape is silence sometimes, it's just isolation. Let me just sit in my car. I just need a little bit of distance, man. I just need a little bit of distance. Now, this is where things took a little bit of a turn. So we saw that interaction. And again, if you go to her profile, I'm gonna link everything in the description box down below. You can see her profile is full of interactions with her husband, just, funny, quirky interactions and stuff like that. And she records everything, majority of the things about their marriage. So pretty much she's including the internet into their marriage. So now that we saw that interaction, the wife just didn't like the experience that this turned very viral and very public. Okay. But she posted it publicly. She posted it for us to see. And now she's upset that podcasts like the Joe Budden podcast and the Pivot podcast, they got their hands on it. Let's see what she has to say.
Apparently, Joe Budden's podcast and the ex-football players, the Pivot, I believe it's called, they decided that they were going to discuss my video with my relationship. My man don't have social media, so he would have never seen the video that I posted of him sitting in the car and me trying to figure out why he ain't come in the house. But guess what he does watch? He watches those goddamn podcasts. So then he hears them talking about the whole scenario of what we were doing, what we were going through. And guess what he's doing now? He's packing his to leave because these grown men wanted to come and talk about my relationship off of a video that's 1 minute long. You guys don't know what happens in my house. Okay. I posted that to give the two sides to the story. There's two sides. Okay. It's not about a woman who nags her man and he can't come in. It's also the side about the woman who works her ass off. Okay. And just want to be supported. So thank you. Okay. Thank you for going on your podcast and discussing my relationship and ending it. Because that's what's happening now. He's packing his stuff and he's leaving because he's embarrassed and he's humiliated and he's getting this from his friends and all these different people are like, yo, ain't this you? Ain't this you? Ain't this you? Off of your podcast. So I hope you're happy about what you've done.
And this is the dangerous part about social media. It's dangerous. I want to, let me see if I can zoom in right here. I want to look at this particular comment right here. You posted it on the internet for everyone to see. I'm going to leave that right there. You posted it for everyone to see. We're putting private pain on public platforms. Then we're shocked when the public actually responds. Listen, I learned in marriage counseling when I went to our pastor before we got married 10 years ago. Amen. I learned in marriage counseling this one rule, and here it is. All right. Keep your marriage business between you, your spouse, and God. That's it. That's it. Not your mama, not your daddy, not your siblings, not your best friends, not and definitely not the internet. Not the internet, because once you bring others into your marriage, then you can't get upset at the critiques that happens or how the spouse responds when they don't even know that they're being recorded and being put on the internet like that and family members getting their hands on it. Amen. And then because they know about your business, and then when you go to family functions, they decide to treat your spouse in a judgmental way. Like, it's bad. Like, keep your business to yourself, even on the internet. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 17. I want to read verse 27. And it says, the one who has knowledge restrains his words, and one who keeps a cool head is a person of understanding. So sometimes wisdom isn't speaking, right? Sometimes wisdom is protecting what is sacred. And that one thing that's sacred is your marriage. Your spouse's struggles, sacred. Your disagreements, sacred. Your conflicts, very, very sacred. They are very sacred. But social media, honestly, nowadays, it's really blurred the lines, unfortunately. It really has. Not everything has to become content. Listen, my wife and I, we have interactions in the house and stuff like that, but I don't need to pull out my phone and just make every single thing about content. And even she doesn't have to do that. Even with me now being on the internet, she doesn't necessarily have to make every single thing content. And I also have to take into accountability for that too, because I'm the one that's on the internet, and I know I could film things in my house. I know I could share certain moments with my family and stuff like that on the internet. But once you do that, once you make every single moment and that becomes content, then your privacy disappears. Then your respect disappears. And sometimes the relationship disappears. It does. Now she's got a part two. And I do want to be fair, okay? Because there is two sides to the story. Amen. There is two sides to the story. But I really, my heart breaks seeing things like this. Amen. Seeing things like this, especially for married people. Amen. So let's see what she has to say.
This is going to be the clip from the pivot tied into this. So again, proving my point that these podcasts ruin my relationship. I'm gonna get right into it.
All right. There was this woman, she's a wife, and she just had a camera and she went outside, and her husband was sitting in the car after a long day at work, and is sitting out here in the car. Then she knocked on the window, he's in the car sleeping. And he says, I'm tired. She says, why didn't you come out or come inside? He goes, I'm tired. I wanted some peace. I don't believe I could have got that in the house. More importantly, it's the story of the husband in the car and the wife coming there and not allowing him an opportunity to decompress after.
And thank you, Ryan Clark, for being the only person to consider my perspective in this whole scenario. Out of everyone speaking, he was the only one to take a second to say, what is she going through?
His old lady probably tired too.
Yeah.
Right? She in the house with the kids. She working off of maybe less sleep or as much sleep. She would probably like to sit outside as well and not have to deal with folks, but she ain't. And part of what she said too was like, she's like, do you need me to bring you something? So even in her feeling like you sleeping outside in the car, outside the house is somewhat disrespectful. I don't understand it. In that moment, she was able to pull back and say, but do you need something?
So again, I want to zoom in on this particular comment right here. Why put it online if you did not want it to be discussed? That's honestly the generalization of everything that I have to say. Why put your marriage business online if you did not want it to be discussed? Now, I do want to be balanced and I do want to be fair because, again, she's right. We don't know the full story. Amen. We don't know the full context. We don't know what happened before this. We don't know what's been going on in that household. We don't know the arguments. We don't know the discussions. We don't know the stress, the pressures. We don't know none of that. But we can see two things very, very clearly, okay? One person is trying to isolate and the other person is trying to expose, okay? They're trying to expose. And both of these patterns can honestly damage a marriage. They truly can. Isolation, it prevents healing, and the exposure invites outside videos and outside voices like me, okay? Like me. I wouldn't be talking about this if you didn't put it on the internet. And once the outside voices start to come in, oh, things get messy fast. Tech Coach Ralph says, I'm happy for him. I can't necessarily say I'm happy. I'm actually sad because I don't like seeing marriages destroyed over internet stuff. Like, I don't like that. I don't. But on the flip side, she put it on the internet. She put it on TikTok, thinking it was harmless. But honestly, when you put it out there in the internet atmosphere, hey, as a content creator, you're a content creator. I'm a content creator. You never know what takes off. You take that risk when you put yourself out there. And that's what happens. Now let's look at Proverbs chapter 25, and I want to read verse 9. And it says, make your case with your opponent without revealing another secret. So I think the principle right here is pretty much as simple. Don't broadcast private conflicts, because once it becomes public, you can't take it back. You cannot take it back. All right. So what really stood out to me from a biblical and a spiritual perspective is how quickly social media became the third voice in a marriage, which is supposed to be a bond between who? Husband, wife, and God. All right. In this entire interaction, God is nowhere, because now the internet's loud voice is louder than anything. It wasn't just husband and wife anymore. It's the internet, it's the podcast like The Pivot and Joe Budden, and it's our opinions. It is. And I don't like that for marriages. I don't. It's very dangerous because marriage needs unity, not spectators. You know, we can go to the beginning. Let's go to Genesis chapter 2, and I think that's 23 or 24. Genesis chapter 2, verse 24 says, "This is why a man leaves his father and mother and bonds with his wife, and they become one flesh." One flesh, not plus TikTok, not plus the podcast, not plus the comment section. Two people working things out together. That's it. So, what can we learn from all of this as, everyday Christians? What can we discern from this? Okay? Because that's the whole point and the reason why I'm talking about this. Is I feel like sometimes the most spiritual things you can do, it's just not post. It's just not post at all. For real. Sometimes the most mature thing you can do is to protect your relationship. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do for your spouse is to give space without exposing the pain to others like me. Like me. But I'm trying to give sound advice, biblical sound advice. But when you put that out there in the atmosphere of the internet, sometimes you're going to be exposing things that your marriage shouldn't be exposed to. And sometimes the peace matters more than just trying to, be right or expose or, do something for TikTok or whatever the case may be. Because again, you go through so many steps to post something online, even after you, get your phone right here and you decide to film. And then once you film, you have to press buttons. And as you can see at the bottom of this, she titled it, "He Fell Asleep. I get it. He's had a long weekend. He's back." There are some steps and things you have to go through before you hit that post button and it's out there in the atmosphere. So, where was this discernment? Where was the cognitive dissonance before you hit that button? Again, peace matters more than you posting something online. That's all I have to say about this. And I hope we can learn from this. I truly hope we can. Before we wrap this up, let me go to Ephesians chapter 4, and I want to go to verse 29. And it says, "No foul language shall come out of your mouth, but only what is good for building up someone in need, so that it gives grace to those who hear." This right here applies to social media as well. This applies to it. So if what we're posting tears down or makes or embarrasses or humiliates or makes you or your spouse look wrong, then it's not building up whatsoever. It's actually breaking. And marriage can't survive, certain things like this and constant breaking. Amen. You know what? We can even go to James, and I think that's chapter 1. And that's verse 19. Yep. It says, "My dear brothers and sisters, understand this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to anger." Right? So imagine how different the situation would have been if she just put the phone down and cared for her husband who just happened to fall asleep in the car privately. Amen. Slow to post, slow to react, slow to speak. Sometimes wisdom in these situations is simple. Just put the phone down. Amen. Just put it down. Just put it down. So remember that next time. Like, listen, this situation is sad. It is sad because I don't like seeing marriages in shambles online, especially when it's supposed to be private matters. But the summary of it all is just put the phone down. Put it down. All right. So if you happen to be in a marriage which is under the covenant of God, and you want to post something of your spouse, whether it's your husband or your wife, and it may make that particular situation look bad, I want you to remember this moment, because that video that you're about to post, after all those steps, you could also be on the podcast and you can also be going viral. And then here we are, we're going to be talking about your video. So remember, put the phone down. Don't trade your privacy for attention. Don't trade your your marriage healing for validation. Don't trade any of that for clicks, views, and likes, okay? Put the phone down. Go to God, go to prayer, go get some counseling. Keep it between you, your husband or your wife, and God. That's it. So again, put the phone down. Amen. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section down below. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe if you enjoy more faith-based content, and please share this with your family and friends so that we can be a blessing to each other. And remember, put the phone down. Amen. Amen.